Welcome everyone to Golden Thumbs Gaming. My name is Golden Thumbs, and today I have Mr. Chivalry on here. Mr. Chivalry is a general in skater rap. He is, man, one of the best. What do you say to that, Mr. Chivalry?
Well, I thank you for letting me on your show. Long time listener, first time caller. I enjoy Skater XL. It's one of the greatest skateboarding simulations out there, honestly, and the fact that it fits in your pocket on the go is just a good time killer. No matter what you're doing, sitting at the bus stop, it's wonderful.
Skater rap or Skater XL? I think you said Skater XL.
I probably have, because both of them they're kind of on the same level.
True.
But Skater app, it's good stuff. I mean, True Skate is good too all day, but for me, I just prefer Skater app.
Yeah, it's the same thing with me with Skater app. I know a lot of my followers like True Skate. I think most of them do. Probably 99% of them. And I get it. I mean, it's more challenging, is what I hear, right? Because the biggest thing I hear is that the board doesn't act like a magnet when you're going to grind something, right?
Absolutely.
But the other thing too, and this is a big misconception, is that they think all the tricks are preset. Like in Skate 3, if you flick the controller a certain way, you're getting a kickflip, you're getting a tray flip. But with Skater app, that's not the case. But people think that's the case.
Yeah, if you the difference between the two for me is complexity. Like if you skateboard or you're just a fan of it or just kind of understand how the feet work. If you jump on Skater XL, or I'm sorry, I'm just playing right now. If you jump on Skater app, it has almost like a certain cradle to the manipulation of the feet and the board where it makes it really doable for you.
Sure.
And that's what I find flattering about it. Where True Skate, it's you really got to take time to sit down and really just adjust sensitivity, just learn every little thing about it. How fast can I flick the board without it flipping 100 times? So that's why I kind of like Skater app. It's more approachable, but at the same time, it offers its own little bit of area for your own personality to it. Board spins, the speed of the spins, and everything like that.
Exactly. See, that's the thing that I think people miss out on a lot, is that you have control over the speed of the spin, the speed of the flip. So it's not guaranteed that you're going to land every trick. And there's still opportunity to be creative and be yourself in it, right? I mean, we can really, when you can flip it at your own speed, you can make something look really slow and sick, right? Or you can, flip it fast and flip it like 7 or 8 times like we do sometimes. Man, and you just did what'd you do, like eight kick flips or something in a row off one ramp? You just went off the one ramp and you did like 8 kick flips in a row.
It was definitely at least a 7, and that kind of brings up the point that the axis of your flips isn't locked in. You know what I mean? Like I kicked up just the tiniest bit, and it kind of created a dolphin effect, but
right.
it's not like a Fisher Price type of game.
Exactly. That's the perfect way to put it. And that's what happened with me too. I was doing a video on like 6 kick flips in a row, and the first clip had just a little bit of it just flicked my finger just a little bit upwards, and it created that dolphin flip at the end of it. And yeah. So we're totally on the same page with that. When did you start playing Skater app? Because I think that came out in like 2016, right?
Absolutely. I don't know. Probably.
You don't know when you started playing? I think I played it in like 2018. I think that's when I picked it up.
When it came out, I don't remember. But I remember I was watching YouTube. I think I was watching Battle at the Barracks or something. And then I saw the commercial with Andrew Reynolds. And for the longest time, I couldn't figure out what game it was, because you go on Google and they got all these different apps and stuff.
Right.
But I eventually found it. And, I saw that it was $5, and some people, they're a little hesitant. They're like, I don't want to spend money on it. I don't want to spend. But for me, I got it. I got like a demo of it initially, and I was like, this is a good game. I don't mind giving $5 to the developers, because they worked hard to put this together. They deserve it. They're
right.
So I ended up getting it, and then I played about a year until we actually crossed paths on the Skater app on Instagram.
Yeah, we did. I want to go back real quick. I definitely want to get into that. But first, you said a few things where, it took me a few times of seeing it. I also saw an ad for it, right? And it took me a couple times of seeing it to like know I was like down to buy it, because I saw it was like $5, and I'm like, for an app, you know what I mean? And I think that's most people's reactions, especially when I get comments all the time, like, "What game is this?" And I tell them it's Skater app, and they're like, "Oh no, it's $5." And I'm like, you know, it's like, but I had to see a couple ads of it, and in seeing them, I could tell like there's some really good control with this game. Like, it wasn't just like a preset trick, you know what I mean? Where like in Skate 3, where everything you flick the fingers a certain way, you're going to get a kickflip, right? And I could tell it wasn't that way. I could tell it was actually like you could have your own bit of style to this. But that's another thing too, is I get a lot of people who don't know what it is. They see me playing it, just like you saw Andrew Reynolds playing it, and there's something about it where people they've never heard of it before, or they've seen it but they don't know what it is. And then I'll tell people, I'll be like, it's Skater, and they're like, then they'll come back like in the future and they'll be like, hey, what was the name of that game again? I'm like, it's the easiest name to remember, but something about it, man, people just it doesn't stick with them, or they can't find it. You know, I've had a lot of people say they can't find it even after I tell them what the name of it is.
It's definitely underrated. I mean, even when you type in Skater, I think it's probably like the 12th thing down on the list.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the commercial got me for sure, because you see a lot of these like tech deck fingerboarding apps where it doesn't respond to your fingers correctly, and if it does, it's super minimal. But
Exactly.
the Skater app commercials, they were really reflective on the gameplay, you know, and they didn't try and doll it up too much for you. Whereas True Skate, for example, I was watching the SLS series, and then I think it was Manny Santiago. He was like betting one of his friends, hey, I could do a tray flip, you know, crooked to varial heel out, something like that, first try.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, you know, hey, that's cool too. You know, it's got maps, whatever. But then when I pick it up, it was just pretty complex of a game for me. So that's why I've always stuck to Skater.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I got respect for True Skate, but like you said, it's just a little too complex. I mean, that's just, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's a good game. It's just not our style. Like, that's just not what that, because when we play it, we don't play these games to be realistic. We play these games more like a fantasy where, I mean, because we both skateboard in real life. So if we want to go do a kickflip, we'll just go outside and do a kickflip. Like, we don't need to do True Skate to feel like we're playing a simulation. Like, we just want to be as unrealistic as possible, do big gaps, do big jumps, do big grinds. You know, I mean, that's how I think we both play.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate the speed and precision.
Right. And that's how I came across you in the beginning, was you commented on a Skater app post on Instagram. And usually those man, they post to Instagram, and every single comment is telling them to update the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it hasn't been updated in like 2 years, and like it's okay. Like they're working on Skater XL, right? Like, so like we get it, but I don't think most people get it, or they don't think it's an excuse. They think like they should still be updating Skater app. But I saw you in the comments, and it's rare that I just click on a stranger's profile in a comment. You know what I mean? Like, somebody likes one of my videos or follows me, I'll usually click on their page and see what they're up to. But to just click on some random person like comment on an Instagram post, I don't do that. But I think I saw your name, Mr. Chivalry, and it was just something about that name. I was like, I got to see what this guy's about. So I clicked on your page, and you had this clip on there, and you were doing a tray flip. You were at MACBA, and you were going off the ramp over in like the corner of the map. It's that little wooden ramp, and you did a tray flip, and you flew over the street, and like it was like a really far gap, right? And it's a gap that we've both done a lot, and then I think probably a lot of people have done. But I had never seen somebody do a tray flip over that gap, and it was just mind blowing to me, because you had to have so much speed to do that. So it was your speed and your precision that caught my eye when I found you on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people they stress about updating the game and stuff, honestly, and that's kind of what propels me to push the limits. Because there's certain aspects of the game that I've done that I haven't seen other people do. You know what I mean? Because they're like, hey, I've done a kickflip tail slide down this ledge. I need something new to do. And I'm like,
Right.
so where I'm coming from is I'm like, well, what do you consider beating the game as? Because you've done everything
Ooh,
everywhere. Okay, cool. Let's go off that concept. But if you can't do what I just did, then you haven't beat the game. And if you haven't beat the game, then why do you complain about updates? I mean,
exactly.
if I had to up or complain about any sort of update, I would hope they would find some way to make better coping or like mini ramp play, stalls, bun stalls, everything like that.
Mm.
There's some ways you can do it, but I wish that was a little more fluid. But other than that, it's you don't need to sit down and play the game for 10 hours straight. 30-minute session here and there is perfect.
I think that's the best feedback I've ever heard about the game, because it's so spot on, right? Like, people can go check out our videos on Instagram. I'm at Golden Thumbs _ and you're at Mr. Chivalry. And I mean, the kind of tricks that we're doing on there, like, there's so much that can be done in that game. And you're right, people do a kickflip tail slide and they'll think, well, that's it, I did everything. And really, it's not everything. And I think that really comes down to a lot of people just want to play it realistic, right? And it's like, if you're playing it to be realistic, well, then, yeah, you're going to run out of things to do in any game really quick, right? Like in Skate 3, in Skater App, in Skater XL, even in True Skate, in all these games, you're going to run out of things to do real quick. If you're just playing, if you're playing realistic. And like, that's cool if that's what you want to do, but you're not going to get a lot of play time out of any of these games just playing like that. But I like your feedback about the mini ramp, because that, like, the coping, right? Because that's the thing for me. A lot of times I'll land in like a blunt stall or a nose blunt stall, but it's not really. I don't. It, it's not as user friendly as it could be, right? Like, there's a way to do it. Like, I've figured out how to land in the blunt stalls, but if I want to land in any other stall on the ramp, it really doesn't work, right? Like, you got to, and it's not a thing of like, well, it's challenging. It just doesn't work, right? Like, it could be made much easier.
And it's like the coping is treated more so like a fun box rather than actual transition.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the whole thing with, again, like, it's cool if people want to play realistic. That's just not our style. But again, you're going to run out of things to do real quick in any game. And I think even in True Skate, people are wanting new maps in that game. I mean, they're always coming out with new, like, items that you can add. Like, I think just today they came out with some, I think it was like a manual pad, or like they updated the manual pad, something like that. It was a box, like a grind box or something. And so they're doing things like that, but they're not necessarily adding maps. And I think that's what people want. I remember, like, over the summer, I think a couple people like stopped posting, like, intentionally, because they were like upset that True Skate wasn't working on any new maps. And that's just the problem that you run into, right? With all these games. And we heard the same thing with Skate 3 too, right? I mean, people have been bored of Skate 3 for a long time now because they're tired of skating the same maps.
The dynamic I see between True Skate and Skater is Skater is going to give you everything for free. I mean, you get a little bit better. You copy a couple runs, you get an extra map. Now, Skater,
Right.
True Skate, they have other maps. A lot of them you have to buy, and it's like I already bought the game.
Right.
It goes back to when you used to play PlayStation, GameCube. You buy a game, you get experience, and then you unlock stuff. But nowadays, everything is just so monetary focused that you have to spend $1.99 for this map. Okay, I played it 20 minutes. I'm tired of it. I need something for it. So
Right,
for
right.
the people who try and play realistic and they get tired, just imagine where we might be in skateboarding in 5 years. Today we're doing a kickflip back tail. Maybe in 5 years we're doing double kickflip back tail. So why not just push it in our own
Ooh,
little simulation?
ooh, I love that. I think that's fantastic. I love that. I love that. That's great. Um, and the when it comes to realistic, Skater XL is fabulous for playing realistic. This is like, it's almost impossible to play unrealistic. I mean, it's not impossible to do it. You can easily do things that nobody has ever done, but they make it. It seems like it was built to be very, very realistic, right? Especially with like the grinds.
Absolutely. If I had to guess on average, especially if you come from playing skate 3, I would say probably
Mm.
after a good, for me at least, it took about a good 10 hours to actually get comfortable with the whole analog sticks with the feet and steering with the triggers, you know. But once
Mm-hmm.
once you
Yep.
get used to it,
Go
it's
ahead.
all about exploration.
Yep, yep. Steering with the triggers was hard for me too when I first got started. When this game first came out, I saw so many people on Facebook saying like, "Oh, I just got Skater XL. Like, man, this is taking me just as long to learn a trick as it does in real life." And I'm like, "Yeah, but it didn't take me that long to pick up tricks. What's taking time for me in this game is the grinds."
Hmm.
Um, I find myself landing in a lot of lip slides and board slides on accident. Do you have that?
Oh, usually, I'm getting a little bit better with the blunt stalls, you know, because of course, as you know, you can turn your board with the triggers, but you could also turn it with the analog sticks, aiming the feet, and that's what
Right.
makes it difficult. The only huge difference to me when you do that is if you land after aiming with your triggers, they're most more times than often they are going to land at a 90 degrees when they pop out, where if you actually aim with your analog sticks, it kind of just auto steers when you pop out of the trick.
See, that's something else that I need to still work on is using the analog sticks to turn the board like that. Um, I have not put enough practice into that yet. I really don't care to. I feel like I would have by now if I felt like learning that, but I think I'm gonna have to. Um, and the stalls, dude, you've been wild with the stalls. I can't. I haven't been playing with. I haven't been screwing with the stalls yet. Um, like, but you're hitting everything. You're hitting blunt stalls and all kinds of things. These mini ramps are like that's your thing.
The mini wrap is pretty hard for me, honestly. And one big difference between Skate 3 and Skater XL is the three different levels of ollie that you have in Skater XL. If you want to pop it low, medium, and high, you know, so when you take that and you add it to the incline of the ramp, it kind of, you know, how high should I ollie to approach it at this speed and stuff like that. You know, it's a great simulation in that regard.
Well, that's what makes a game good, right? When you get to that level of detail where you have to figure out if you're going up a ramp, just how much do I need to pop for the speed that I'm going. And see, that's what allowed me to uh, that's what allowed me to grow in Skate 3. See, in Skate 3, I played a lot of multiplayer and I played a lot of one up, which is where in 20 seconds you got to get more points than the other person. And in order to do that, you have to land all of your tricks, and you can't you can't just like map out what tricks you're going to do. You can't just say I'm going to do a kickflip tail slide no matter what. That's not going to work because if the other guy did something that was worth more points, well, you're not going to beat him now, right? And I was in it to win it. So what happened was I had to get good at, as I'm approaching a rail or a ramp, I have to look at how much speed I have, how much pop I need in order to get onto the rail or onto the ramp. And then you also have to consider what kind of distance do I have between the board and the railing or the ramp, right? Because that's going to allow you to then say, well, I can do a big flip into a tail slide. I don't need to settle for a kickflip tail slide, right? Because again, I'm not playing it realistic. So, when you get to that level of granularity, like you were saying, that's what really allows you to excel in any of these games.
Hmm. For sure, and it teaches
Yeah,
you a lot along the way too that you can apply to your real life skateboarding, you know.
true,
So,
true. Then I mean, it does. Yeah, you're right. It does. It does play out the same way. How long have you been skateboarding for in real life?
probably about 18 years.
Yeah, I've been doing about 13 years. So we're pretty
Yeah,
close,
I don't,
and we're pretty close in age too, as
I
it is,
believe,
right? I'm like 20,
I'm
28.
31, you know, so I'm
Okay,
your
there
elder.
you go.
But yeah,
I feel like all of my friends are 31 now.
hmm.
I have one friend that's younger than me, and I feel like everybody else is 31, and that's not even an exaggeration.
Yeah, and it's like for me, you know, like I don't eat all my vegetables growing up too, so I'm getting at that age where I'm not trying to be flying downstairs, you know, but I also still have an appreciation for the art of skateboarding, you know, so it's like these simulations, they really go a long way in keeping with your love for the sport.
Right, exactly. See, that's the thing is I get some people on my videos, they see like me playing it, and they've probably seen each of my videos more than once, so they end up writing comments like, do you have a day job? Is this all you do? And I'm like, dude, I yes, and I can play the game and be good at it and have other things going on in life, but it's like I've been skateboarding for 13 years. I don't need to get out on the board every single second of the day, dude. Like my body's tired, man. Like I've done it a long time. And like you said, I'm not trying to jump down the stairs every single day. Like if I can get out on the board and do some flat ground tricks, hit a spot once in a while, like at this point, that's going to fulfill me because I'm not trying to go pro, right? I'm not trying to pick up sponsors anymore. Like that's just not where I'm at in life. And it was at one point, but not anymore, right? And so it's like we just want to appreciate skateboarding. We want to be a part of it, and the video games are one way that we're doing that.
You know, and I always like the people that are like, oh, but can you do it in real life? And it's like, why do I need?
Exactly. I
I
hate
think those
that.
are like the clout chasers, you know, that want to say, hey, I ollied a 20 stair today, you know, just want to just appreciate the art for a minute. You know, if you saw a kid on the sidewalk playing with the RC car, are you going to go shame him because he's, you know, emulating what it's like to drive a car at crazy high
Mm.
speeds, or because,
Because he's not a nat. Yeah, you're not going to go up to him and be like, "Hey, go be a real NASCAR driver."
Mhm.
Yeah, totally. Well, and the funny thing is, like you said, like they're chasing clout, and it's like, they're not. The funny thing is, most often the people who say, "Can you do that in real life?" aren't the people who ollied a 20 stair. They're the people who just ollied a two
Hmm.
stair, right? And it's like that's the thing, dude. Like skateboarders, like I'm not trying to hate on anybody, dude. Like I ollied my fair share at two stairs when I first started, right? Like we all did, and that's super cool for anybody who just learned how to do that. But it's like, you got to understand if you're at that point, like that's cool that you're hyped on yourself. That's cool that you're hyped on like your tricks that you're learning. But you can't go hating on other skateboarders, dude. Like we're a community. We're in this together. We're all supposed to be supportive of one another. If you go learn a new trick and you get hyped on it, that's cool. But don't be cocky about it. Like that's the last thing that skateboarding is about. Skateboarding is not about being cocky, right? And I'm not trying to sound that way as I say this. I'm just trying to be informative to because we get a lot of people who will say things like, "Do you skateboard in real life? I bet you can't do that trick in real life." And it's like, dude, just because you learned how to kickflip recently doesn't mean that you can come and put other people down, right? Because we can do a lot of tricks ourselves, um, but that doesn't mean that we're posting videos of ourselves skateboarding. That's just not what our social media channels are for. We are posting gaming videos. That's why we're on social media, is to post gaming videos. I've got my own YouTube videos of skateboarding, of real life skateboarding. That's there. You can go check that out. But when it comes to my Instagram, when it comes to my TikTok, and the same with you, it's about playing these games and, showing people what we can do with it.
Absolutely, boss.
And the thing is, you know, I didn't used to feel a need for that when Skate 3 was around. Well, I mean, Skate 3 is still around, but when I was playing Skate 3, I didn't feel a need for that because they had multiplayer, right? But see, with Skater App, with Skater XL, with True Skate, with all these different games, they're all wonderful, but they don't have multiplayer, right? And it's like when you have multiplayer, there's a community of people that you're playing with, right? You're constantly engaged with other people. But in these games that we play, we don't have that. And so us posting on social media is our form of like building a community of people and getting involved with other people who like the game and want to watch us play the game.
You know, skateboarding is like a beautiful community in itself. You know, skateboarding, the art of it, it transcends. You know, it doesn't care what race you are. You know, how much money you have, how many felonies you have. You know, it's almost it's almost like how
Absolutely.
dogs and animals are like a gift to man. You know, it's the same thing with skateboarding. It's even that guy on TikTok. You know, 420 dog face who's skateboarding down the street. You know, it's just a peaceful,
Right.
joyous thing, a connection. You know, you're moving quick. you know, and it's all around good, you know. So back to the subject of people chasing clout and just being mean to each other, it's like, you know, that's not what it's about. It's not a competition in that sense. And you know, I still respect the barracks with, you know, never stop hopping fences and stuff like that, but it's
Mm-hmm.
it should be well kept, the community, you know, support and love for the sport.
Support and love. Yep. Perfect way to put it, man. Um, absolutely. And so, did you see the recent announcement from Skater XL that they are going to have coming in the holidays? They're going to have more community maps, like maps that other players have
I'm
created.
definitely looking forward to that one, you know.
That's going to be sick, right? Oh my god, could you imagine?
It's,
I think that's a big thing. That goes back to what we were saying earlier, where it was like there's a lot of times people need more maps, right? And that's going to be a big part of keeping people engaged with Skater XL.
absolutely. And you know, leading up to Skater XL coming out, it kind of had that little competition with Session. But leading up to it, people were
Ooh,
like, you know, oh, it looks like this, look, doesn't look as good as that, you know. And everybody's got to understand it's an independent company, you know what I mean? They heard the cries for Skate 4, and they said, you know, let's see what we can do at least and give you a good simulation to compete with.
right, right. What do you see as like? What would you like to see as the direction for Skater
I
XL?
mean, honestly, I would hope it doesn't get all like overly saturated, and as Skate 3 did, as far as, you know, the customization. For me, I don't like neon colors, you know, that's just me personally. There's nothing wrong with it, you know, you do you. But it just seemed too
Right.
like cartoonish after a while, you know. People doing trip or double
Ooh.
backflip Christ airs across the mega ramp, and it got a little far fetched for me, where it doesn't have to be a perfect lifelike simulation, but it's like when it has that cartoonish feel to it, I just kind of step away a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Um, I would really like to see some multiplayer out of it.
Hmm.
That would be sick.
Definitely. They do have a mod for it on PC where they have multiplayer, but that's on
Oh, do they really?
PC.
Okay. Oh, I think I've heard. Oh, you know what? No, I have heard of that. You're right. And I think they talked about one time working with those guys who created the mod and bringing that onto the console.
Hmm. And the huge difference, kind of side topic, the huge difference for me that I appreciate between console and PC is PC, they're always going to have mods. You know, you see it all day long with Grand Theft Auto, but as far as having it on console, we're all kind of on the same level. You know what I mean? If I do this trick, it's because I did it by the game standards, and I didn't have to mod this way, mod that way like they do on PC.
Right, right. What is Grand Theft Auto up to with the mods? I play Grand Theft Auto on my PlayStation 4, so I don't play it on a PC where I can do mods.
Oh,
But what
they're
are people
doing
doing
a
on
bunch
it?
of incredible stuff. You know, they implant characters like Iron Man or the Hulk. You know, just about anything you can
What?
imagine. They mod into the game. They have their own custom vehicles and stuff like that. 6x6 pickups with lowriders. It's
No
way
way.
too much.
That is sick. That's something I
Yeah,
need to
if you
get
can
into.
afford 2 grand for a gaming PC, I definitely recommend it.
Well, that's the thing, dude. Yeah, those gaming PCs can get wild. I was looking at one. Um, I think I would definitely like to do it. But yeah, that's the thing, dude. Is you can really spend on some of those things, man. Some of those gaming PCs. Um, but that's the thing, dude. Yeah, with the PCs versus the consoles, the mods can make it so much more fun. And I think it was Jay Boogie, the dude who plays Skater XL. He just released uh, a sound pack for Skater XL. But again, it's a mod, right? That you'd have to do it on the computer. But it's basically a bunch of sounds that I'm trying to remember what it was, but I think it was like sounds for when you grind, sounds for your feet when they're flicking the board. So it wasn't sounds in terms of like music that's playing in the game, but it was sounds related to the skateboard, like when you're popping the board when the board is hitting the ground, all
A
these
couple
different
birds
things.
chirping in the background, stuff like that.
Right, right.
Yeah, they definitely have a
Yeah,
bunch of
man.
mods on there. They have some where you can make the board wider, so it makes it, I guess, look a little more realistic. You can make your power slide speed a lot faster.
Jeez. I like the idea of the width of the board, right? Because that's really important in real life. So then that helps people feel like they're playing a little more realistic when you can customize it like that.
And a lot of people about the update on Skater XL, they really want those socks. I don't know why. The character needs socks.
Yeah, right. Man, I remember when I was playing Skater XL on the PC, and I was getting some of those mods, not those specifically, but just like the different maps and stuff, and from the Discord. And man, that makes it so much more fun when you can get all those different maps in there, because people are making like legit
Mm-hmm.
maps, dude. Like stuff's like
They're
people are really
definitely
putting in
talented.
work.
You can imagine what it takes to even put a map together.
Yeah, right. I can't imagine because I don't know the first thing that goes into that. I should get one of those guys on here, somebody that makes their own maps. I'd love to hear about like how they're doing that, what program they're using, how much time
You can
that
even
takes.
probably have them make your hometown.
Ooh, that would be
It's
sick.
endless. That's why I'm just hoping that the engine for Skater XL just doesn't get too thwarted with saturation of the market. Just leave it as pure as it is, add a
Right.
couple things here and there, but I just hope it doesn't. You don't have people in jetpacks flying around, some crazy stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. I feel like it won't get to the point of Skater XL, like where you were saying people are doing like double backflip Christ airs and stuff. Like, I think just in terms of how they have the physics in the game, that's not going to happen. But I mean, people certainly could, I mean, they can, I think where they're going to have an issue with stuff like that is people setting the marker up on top of like roofs and stuff, right? When they get up on rooftops, because then you
Mm-hmm.
can do anything. I think when the game first came out, I saw a bunch of people, it had been hyped as a game for realistic players. And then everybody went out and bought it for the soul. And they realized that they weren't forced to play realistic. And so they were even catching heat for that, dude. Like people were posting videos like, I thought this game was supposed to be realistic. And then they're like jumping out of like off a roof, right? And like different stuff like that, like all these ridiculous places that they spawned themselves. And it's like, I mean, those people are purposely just trying to, make a point. But so I think they might get into a little bit of the stuff like you're saying, where people can take it a little crazy and get a little silly with it. But I don't think the physics of the game are going to have people like, wall riding up a building. You know what I mean? And stuff like that.
Yeah, and a lot of people, they wanted a stat bar on it, which I'm kind of against initially because, again, I kind of want us all to be competing in the same parameters. So
Tell me about the stat bar. What do you
some
mean?
people it's supposed to be like, this is how high you ollie, or this is how fast your board can flip, and just all these different parameters you can set with the physics.
Oh, okay. I know. Okay, I know what
Which
you mean now. Oh, well, they have that kind of stuff in Skate 3, right? Where it's like if you change like the wheel size, and that's going to get you a little bit more speed, or the softness of your wheel is going to help you do different. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, where you can affect all that. And here's the thing too: when you get into all that, customization, then that's when things start to get out of hand. Because I remember when I was playing Skate 3, and again, I was playing multiplayer, I was playing 1-Up, and I was playing 1-Up with the intention of climbing the ranks and getting to the number one rank. I'm not. This isn't a flex, by the way. I know people always tell me I'm flexing when I say this, but it's not a flex. It's just a story. I was playing it to get to the number one rank, and I was playing like 8 hours a day for like a year straight, dude. Like I was still in college, right? Like I I was good, but I wasn't like missing out on life or anything. But I got to the second, or I was ranked like second or third, and then the dude who was ranked number one, hit me up and he's like, dude, um, if you're gonna like beat me, if you're gonna like have number one spot, like you've gotta set up your board and your character in a certain way because it's gonna help you do more. And I was like, what do you mean, man? Like, so he shows me and he's like, set your tires, your wheel softness to this, set your wheels to be this height, have your deck be like this, have your trucks be loose or tight, and like all these very specific changes, right? And this and the stance of my player and all this stuff. And then when he made all those changes, it took a while to get used to it because it was like a lot of changes from what I was used to, but I was able to play it so much better. It wasn't a cheat by any means, but it allowed me to get more air off of each trick. Like I could do a tray flip higher and I would catch it sooner than if I had a different style of a skateboarder. And then that allows you to do more stuff, right? So it's really just about being smart with how it's set up. If you can get more air with your, let's just say like a tray flip, right? If you get more air with a tray flip and you catch it sooner, well, now I can throw a late flip into it, or I can, I guess do a late flip with it. That's mostly what I did. But when you can do more, you can do other stuff with it, right? Whereas opposed to if all you can do is a tray flip, well, now you're missing out on an extra trick. You're missing out on an extra point. So point being, like when you get to customizing it like that, it changes the game and it changes how people play the game. So I kind of like your idea of not getting into all that customization because that will pull people away from the realism.
I mean, if I had some way to tweak the controls, I would change, perhaps make it adjustable how much speed is added per foot kick. Maybe you can adjust the margin, so by the time you hit your third kick, maybe you're at like 80%, and then the fourth one 110% speed. That way you can get that little extra niche, because sometimes in skate kind of felt it was slow at sometimes. I mean, you could do the speed glitch and stuff like that, you know what I mean? But when you when
right.
you watch real skateboarding videos and they're hitting a gap, they're just pushing like it's no tomorrow and just giving it all they got. And that's one thing I noticed in some of the skateboarding games, aside from, of course, Skater App with how fast I am. But they don't ever just push excessively and just go demon speed,
Right. I totally feel you. Well, I think we can call this a full episode. What
I
about
think
you?
so. For any of the Skater App players out there, I issue a challenge to get on top of the Love Park building.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Let's get into that real quick. Let's hit that up. I genuinely forgot about that. You got on top of the building at Love Park. Now, neither of us have seen, and we play this game a lot, and we're pretty active on social media with it. We've never seen anybody else get up there, right? We've never seen video or photo of anybody else get up there. And I highly doubt that it's happened before because you push so fast, like you push ungodly fast. And the way that you got up there, you were at Love Park, and we're talking about that building, that circular building, right? And where it's sort of like the glass that's going around the outside of it. And you pushed so fast that you jumped up onto a bench, grinded the bench, and the bench had a little clip at the end of it that tossed you. It sort of like glitches, and it tossed you up into the air and on top of that building.
It took a great while. Sometimes when you see like a building on there, like Machba, for example, you're like, hey, I wonder if I can get on top of that building. And sometimes, you get glitched out of the map because you hit a trick too fast or whatever. And then you see the building doesn't have a roof to it, or you end up falling through the building. You're like, okay, cool. I know I can't do it. But I could never confirm that the Love Park building, that I couldn't get up there, you know what I mean? So it just became this incredible challenge that I was infatuated with. And I remember I told you maybe like 3 months before I even made it up there, it's like, I'm gonna see if I can make it up there. I just keep trying and trying, and when you see the method I used to get up there, it just seems obvious. But when you're trying to find out that method, it's like, where do we go? how do we even begin to approach
Right.
it?
Right. And it's a shame because we got so hyped on that when you did that. My mind was blown. And I have a TikTok of it where I duetted you. So that's on TikTok. And then I also have video on Instagram of where I started the video, and then I even put it again as the ending clip because that's just how hyped we were about it. It was the first clip and it was the last clip in the video that we in one of our collab videos. And neither of those videos, it just so happened that neither of those videos took off. I mean, out of all the videos I've made and all the, what is it, like over 5 million views I have now, and those videos just didn't get picked up. And I feel so bad because like I want more people to see that clip.
And it's I even put a couple videos on teaching people how I go so fast and exactly how to do the gap and where to jump, and just I lay it out there for anybody. And I think I've gotten like 1,500 views on the instructional video on there, but yeah.
Oh, that's good. Well, and then I think I have like close to 8,000 on my duet, so people have seen that. So we got you a little bit of exposure with
it
it.
ain't nothing.
But you might need to just go reposting that, dude. You might just need to repost that a few more times on TikTok, man. Resurface it.
Put some fancy music on there and see what happens,
Yeah, man. I haven't been on Instagram lately. I haven't been posting on there as much. I still, I have a lot of really cool followers on there. A lot of my followers on there are really, really, really dope. But I just haven't been posting on there as much because the reach hasn't been the same for me. I used to get so many more views on a video, and I don't mean to sound like that's what I'm all about, but I'm not going to spend the time going out of my way to make a video where I'm really trying hard to make an entertaining video for people, and then for it to not be viewed. You know what I mean? Like, that's just a waste of my time. Like, I make these videos to entertain people, and if I can't entertain people on that platform, I'm not going to make videos for that platform.
And honestly, it's like you just gotta follow the crowd. Like there's a bunch of people on Facebook originally, but then you got the older people there who actually utilize it as a tool, for pictures and social media, and that kind of deterred the younger people. Then they went to Instagram, and now I feel like Instagram, it's still utilized, of course, but it gets a little played out in a sense. So that's where the next thing is TikTok. You know what I mean? And unfortunately for our gaming and the certain criteria, sports, emulation, skateboarding, you don't have like a bunch of adults that might watch the videos. You know what I mean? Because they're out there living life. So usually our videos end up catering to the younger kids, but it's just sharing the love of the game. You know what I mean? If we can get skater apps sales up, who knows? Could be in a
For sure. Well, that's the thing, dude. Like, my one video that went viral, it's up to 2.6 million views now, and that literally, I don't know how it's affected their sales for the last couple months, but I know that within the I don't know, within a week of that going viral, it grew. They went from ranked number 6 in the Apple App Store to ranked number 4. Now only 2 ranks doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot when you're moving from number 6 to number 4. If you're moving from number 1,000 to number 998, big whoop, right? Not a big deal. You probably had to make one sale to move up, right? But you gotta move some games if you're moving from number 6 to number 4.
And again, that's $5 a game. Consider how much their competitors are selling at the same time. You're making them money.
For sure. Oh, and they deserve it. It's a fun game.
Absolutely. Get a lot of use. And that's why I just can't stand people, just ragging on. When I look at the skater app Instagram and they post, like a duck crossing the street or something that has nothing to do whatsoever with the app, I'm just like, But they always catch flack in their comment section. Update the game, and it's like, they made the game. It works. They can fix some things, but works. It's like it's still a simulator with a bunch of very popular spots.
Absolutely. Hey, man, where can people find you on
Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat if you want? It's Mr. spelled out MISTER, the _ Chivalry CHIVALRY. always going to be Mr. Shivery. Shivery is not dead. And that's just who I am. You know what I mean? That's it.
I love it. I love it. And that handle's what caught my attention when I first saw you in the comments on one of the Skater Rap posts, man. Sick, man. Well, everybody needs to go follow you for sure, because you're always putting out sick content, and not as much in Skater Rap now, but a lot in Skater XL. So people are going to love to see that. So definitely I recommend everybody go follow Mr. Chivalry. At least check him out. You're going to be impressed. I'm Golden Thumbs. Thank you for tuning in. And you are listening to what will become the #1 podcast in gaming. All right, Mr. Chivalry, I'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.